Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Threepcast,
Hello.
episode 5.
Episode 5.
After a very long hiatus.
Yes.
I'm Elliot.
I am Anton.
This is Phil.
This is Alex.
Alex be joining us for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, this is episode 5, and we decided to cancel the planned Strong Bad School Game for Attractive People episode.
Due to prolonged logistical issues.
Yeah. I mean,
we did try.
I've been sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for that episode. I mean, come on.
Clearly.
We'll swing back around for it later.
Yeah. So we decided instead to do Day of the Tentacle as the subject for this episode.
An old favorite.
An old favorite, probably the oldest favorite.
Yes.
So yes, and we're also going to talk about some news. We're going to read some feedback, some honest to goodness feedback that got sent in for this episode.
Woo.
And anything else that comes up.
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything. So yes, it's been about almost little over a year since our last episode. So normally this is the part where I ask how everybody's week has went. But instead I'm going to ask how was everybody's year since the last episode.
Oh, gosh. Well, do you want to start, or?
I can start, I guess. Now I feel silly because I don't feel like anyone wants to hear a year-long summary of my life.
Well,
If
just
you
highlights.
pack it into one sentence.
Yeah.
Movies, moving, and some other M word.
Monsters.
Monsters, yes. Movies, moving, and monsters. I think that's the last year in summary.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. All right.
I want to try to compose a haiku about my year.
Well, do you want to work on that while I
Here,
talk?
I'm gonna wing it.
Okay, go.
A master's degree. Not enough time on my hands. Oh well, here we go.
It could have been worse. I'm proud.
I think that was... I was trying to count the syllables. I think that was correct.
If it wasn't correct, please send us feedback to let us know so I can improve my
Send
haiku
us your
skills.
feedback in a haiku form.
Right.
It's 575 syllables, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So send us your feedback in haiku form. Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Phil, how was your year?
Well, I can't remember if we actually talked about this last time we, did the podcast, but I am a pre-med student, and I'm gearing up to take the MCAT pretty soon.
Woo.
It's gonna be like in April, I think. Right now, this is gonna be July, late July, for those listening for posterity. But yeah, just kind of prepping for that. Recently, I've gotten really invested in the Zero Escape series for DS, and hopefully, eventually, we can get to those on this podcast. It's a fantastic series, and yeah, that's just about all I've been doing. That and League of Legends.
Always fun.
Always fun. Go watch LCS. LCS is the best.
Wow.
Alex, since you're a new host on the podcast, do you want to just give a little quick introduction about yourself?
I am a man who has been consumed by Blizzard, and I am proud.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good segue. I should ask, what games has everybody been playing?
StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm.
Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone,
World of Warcraft.
See, I'm trying to think. Other than the Zero Escape series, that covers 999 and VLR. Yeah, League of Legends.
I've also been playing Xenoblade Chronicles. That's pretty cool.
And a lot of Smash Bros. And Splatoon.
At the start of the year, I got the pack on Humble Bundle of all 3 BioShock games that I had never played any of them before. So those have been entertaining, and I've been playing through them all.
I'm developing severe paranoia from BioShock 1, and I'm going to blame Anton for it forever.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And that's governor!
I have been playing The Last of Us and Broken Age recently.
Have you
That's-
finished Broken Age?
Tim Schafer
I
classic.
have not. I'm trying to go slow because I know that it's not, a 30-hour game.
And it's going to be a while before they do another one like that.
Right. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a Broken Age Act 3. I think this is the end of the game.
Or
They're gonna
I
do
just
a
mean like
Kickstarter?
another Tim Schafer adventure game, TM.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be a while.
I
at
imagine
least.
after the sort of tortured development cycle that this went through, I think they're going to be a little more wary before doing another
Yeah.
crowd-funded, publicly exposed adventure game. Though I guess they could just do it like regular and not tell anyone about the tortured development cycle.
Yeah,
Though I feel like this experience is probably going to be good in the long run because it'll probably encourage them to like plan it all out in advance, I guess, and have it all
Yeah.
spend a little bit more time developing the structure before
And
we go
We
ahead
should
and pitch
we
it.
should do a proper Broken Age episode to talk about this. but-
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of getting
Yeah.
off topic, but yeah.
Yeah, and Last of Us has been good. I haven't ever played that before. I'm an Uncharted fan, so Last of Us was pretty easy transition.
Uh-huh.
It's been a lot of fun so far.
Yay.
And I attempted to play Five Nights at Freddy's 4
gosh.
earlier this week. That didn't go so well.
Is it really that bad? Okay, how does it rank against like 1?
In terms of gameplay, you're a lot more vulnerable than you are in any of the other Five Nights at Freddy's games because
Okay.
you have no camera system now.
Right.
The only way you can tell where people are in your it takes place in your house basically.
Yeah.
The only way you can tell where people are is by listening for audio cues. So you have to like go up to the doors and listen for sounds like either footsteps or breathing. And the problem that I found was that it is almost impossible to hear the breathing cues. I don't know if it was just I didn't have the proper sound settings or what.
I think he made a patch to increase the volume. 'cause
Oh, did he?
Lots of people complained about it.
Oh, okay, that's good. So yeah, I'll give it another try then. The breathing kind of made it impossible for me to like make any kind of like strategy or progress just because I
Right.
couldn't hear the cues.
Yeah.
But I have to say, like psychologically, this is probably the most terrifying Five Nights at Freddy's game because previously you would get jump scared if you like were just not paying attention. Like the jump scares would happen regardless of your actions. If they are in the hallway in the dark and you turn on your flashlight, you get jump scared immediately if they're right there. So it's like you initiate the jump scare, so it makes it like worse because you don't know if they're going to be there or not.
Because you're afraid to take any action because
Right, exactly.
it could be it.
Right.
Plus all the designs are a lot more visually.
Well, yeah, right. The animatronics are a lot more terrifying to look at. The whole thing is very unnerving, and I found it to be a lot more frightening than number 3, to be honest.
Also, you have to constantly turn around and look at your bed.
Right. Yeah. There's no like safe zone. Well, I mean, there's never really been a safe zone in these games, but it's like even in your like default position, you still have to turn around and look behind you to make sure nothing's gonna come up behind you.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't able to finish one complete game. Like I would get in a couple hours and then get too scared and I'd hand all the controls to Elizabeth and be like, "Okay, you take over. I can't deal with this."
Mhm. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been, yeah. I guess I'll go back and try it again now that there's a patch.
Yeah.
So,
Fun stuff.
okay. Getting back on topic to adventure games.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some adventure game news.
Here's the news. Another action-filled adventure. Here is the news. All the worst from the World Convention.
All right, so there's been a lot of adventure game news in the past year. I just picked like a couple of the top highlights of things that have been announced and talked about recently.
The cream crop.
The cream crop, yes. I think the first thing to bring up is the King's Quest remake, which is coming out in a few days.
Yeah.
What's you guys' opinion on that? Do you think it looks good? Do you think it's a bad idea? What do you think?
It looks really fun.
Like,
I'm
I know this sounds kind of complainy, but speaking as just kind of, I don't know. I always had a very hard time getting into the old, like, adventure games, so I'm really happy they're remaking things to, like, appeal to a younger generation. I think make it more accessible, because
Right.
really text games are kind of a relic at this point, I'd say.
Right.
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, even the older King's Quests always seem kind of stodgy and I don't know.
They're really hard.
Well, okay, well, they're really hard, but it's also like I guess they take themselves very seriously, and this new game seems more like they're trying to make it into something like Monkey Island, where Graham is just kind of a goofy comic character.
Yeah, Monkey Island was the first vibe I got when I saw the newest trailer, where you actually get to see Graham going around talking to people. It seems very goofy and more less, like you said, less stodgy than the old King's Quest, where
Yeah.
they're trying to be like a serious fairy tale
Right.
kind of story. This one seems
yeah.
like it's less inclined to take itself seriously.
Although that did work for some of the King's Quests, and it's like King's Quest 6. I felt like
Oh, at some
I
point
guess
there's,
that
like,
wasn't
King's Quest
totally
6.
serious, but yeah, we gotta get to that later.
It had goofy elements, but yeah,
Right.
you mostly took it seriously.
Yeah, and I think that worked. They made that work there, but sometimes like King's Quest 8 is just like what. Okay.
I'm looking up things now, and I really like the art style so much.
Yeah, I know.
I had no
But-
idea they were remaking King's Quest. I googled it.
Well, it's not
While
really
we're
a proper
talking.
remake. I don't think. I think it's
It's
like
like a-
it's like a prequel.
It's like a continuation / prequel, like a new game. It's not a remake of any of the old King's Quests.
It looks good. Visually, it looks compelling, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we should review that at some point.
Yeah.
Yes,
Definitely.
you gotta do it.
He says it's coming out in a few days.
Yes, very
Huh.
soon.
Like 3 days, I think.
Okay, next piece of news. Telltale recently announced, or they announced it a while ago, they recently released a trailer for Minecraft Story Mode
At Minecon.
at Minecon. Now, I am probably the only one here who has not played Minecraft properly. You guys have all played Minecraft before. What's your opinion on this? Do you think it's good or dumb or what?
I think it's very, very like. Oh, what's the word? I'm thinking of a word, but just kind of ridiculous in a way.
No,
Like
yeah.
Minecraft fever, I think, is already peaked and it's on the decline. But just we have Minecraft everything, and now it's like we're getting a Minecraft adventure game. I don't know. I think, it's Telltale. I think they'll do a good job. It just seems like it'll be very weird.
In my opinion, it's all gonna hinge on the characters and how good of a story they can make. The setting for Telltale, like for me, the setting has never been as important as can they make compelling characters and
Yeah.
can they make an interesting story.
I'd really like to see how they use the universe logic of you can break just about any block and
Right.
I don't imagine you'll have any scenarios where you're like trapped in a room or something like that because you can just break out.
I think they're not gonna treat it as Minecraft though. It's gonna be like as though these are people living in the Minecraft world.
So,
who
like,
might
sucked
not
into a video
necessarily
game
be able
thing?
to mine through. Yeah, I guess. It seems like they're kind of tapping into the whole let's play stuff that like 8 to 12-year-old people are into these days.
What's
Where it's
the
like,
genre?
making up a story set in this Minecraft world. It's all made out of blocks.
Right, yeah, is that a Let's Play genre when it's like you're making up a pretend story using nothing but the Minecraft engine? Is that Let's Play or is
Yeah.
that something else?
I think that falls under the umbrella of Let's Play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna level
Role
with
playing
you.
maybe.
This
Yeah.
game looks terrible because at the first part of the game, they hand him 3 cobblestones, 2 sticks.
I
Build
know.
a
I
pickaxe.
saw that.
They build an iron pickaxe out of
What are you
cobblestone.
doing, Telltale? What
Obviously,
are you
they didn't
doing?
do enough research.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks fine.
That's gonna be another thing. I'll be interested if they bend the rules of everyone who's played Minecraft knows pretty well what makes what. I wonder if they'll change it up.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Make things that you can't make in the game. In other words.
right. They'll probably do a little bit of that, I guess. It seems I don't. I have the sense that they're gonna stick pretty close to the mechanics of the world and just try to make a story about it.
Right.
It seems kind of fan fiction-y, maybe, just based on the trailer, but I think that's probably because that's the target audience. It's like I am not the target audience for this game.
Right.
It's like most of Telltale's output recently has been very mature games like Game of Thrones and Borderlands and Walking Dead. This is kind of a change of pace for them.
Yeah, that's another good thing because I know Alex, you've kind of talked about that, how you feel like Telltale's gotten too dark lately,
Mhm.
and this is a kind of a more
Yeah.
like their older games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see it. Telltale always does a good job with stuff, so I'm
Yeah.
on board.
They have a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's Minecraft story mode. I have one more thing I want to bring up before we move on. Recently, and I'm getting this from a Mix and Mojo, or the International House of Mojo, so citing sources. So you guys may be familiar with a thing called Disney Infinity, which is,
Yeah.
you know, everybody's favorite figurine collect 'em up thing.
It's not Amiibo.
The vice president of production at Disney Interactive, John Vignacci, I don't know how to say his last name, he has announced that he wants characters from LucasArts adventure games as a part of Disney Infinity. And the way you can help him achieve this is you take to Twitter and use the hashtag #OurDisneyInfinity and let the powers at LucasArts know that you want Guybrush and Manny Calavera and all those guys as figurines
Ooh, man.
in Disney Infinity.
Apparently they're running a campaign where people can come and vote on characters they'd like to see in the game.
Right.
So it would be really cool to have figurines of adventure game characters. And like Goku. Let's see, you could get Manny Calavera, you could get Guybrush Threepwood. I don't know if you could get away with Ben from Full Throttle, but that'd be pretty good.
That's kind of like leaning towards the more obscure, less recognizable.
Yeah.
Maybe Purple Tentacle.
I was actually thinking Purple Tentacle.
I
would be a good
would
one.
I would almost buy Disney Infinity just so I could play a game that has those characters in it.
See, okay, here's the thing. Like the reason I love the amiibos and kind of the whole figurine like culture that's come up over the past like 2 years, it's
Mhm.
like you get figurines of characters that you normally would never be able to
Yeah,
find anything for,
right.
like
They would never
the
merchandise
obscure
them
Japanese
normally.
characters in Smash Bros. And
Shulk.
Yeah.
Right.
Shulk and Shulk.
Shulk, yeah.
Shulk.
Some of the weirder
Shulk.
superheroes that like they haven't made movies of, and you can't get figurines. You can get these little like tiny action figure guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to go into a store and just see a bunch of LeChucks sitting there.
I would too.
What a time to be alive.
I know, right?
Seriously. Like just within the last couple of years, like I feel like there's been such a great awareness
Yeah.
that a great awareness of like these old games has been made, like with Steam and good old games. Like, you know, just a few years ago we'd go around complaining about how so many of these games are unattainable and you'd either have to like pirate them or get them on eBay.
Yeah.
And now it's like pretty much almost the entire LucasArts back catalog is either available right now or is going to be available soon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Shy
fun
of
times.
This episode's game, which is not available. I guess it will be.
Eventually.
Oh
soon.
right, yeah, that's
Day
a
of the Tentacle.
good thing to bring up. And I was going to mention this later when we actually get to Day of the Tentacle proper. But yeah, Day of the Tentacle is currently out of print, which is kind of a shame.
I know, it's unbelievable. It's such.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We can't download it on Steam? Or
No,
no, you
it's
can't
nowhere.
get it anywhere. But last Christmas they announced it, and I feel bad I don't know this off the top. PlayStation Experience
Oh, yeah.
event is where they announced it. Tim Schafer announced that Double Fine is working on a special edition of Day of the Tentacle,
So excited.
which, as I understand it, is going to be like what LucasArts did with Monkey Island 1 and 2, where they're going to update the graphics and kind of spruce it up a bit.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And then that also means Day of the Tentacle is going to be in print again. So
Mhm.
if you can't get it right now, you know, hold tight for a couple more months, or you know,
We're
I
not
just
saying nothing, but there are ways to get it.
I just checked on eBay today. There is a special version of Day of the Tentacle that was released in a triangle-shaped box that is very, very hard to get. The current asking price on eBay for this is $3,900, but most average copies of Day of the Tentacle are not that expensive. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But-
worth playing. I mean, as you'll probably get the impression that we all think that the more you listen to this episode.
How do you know what I'm
Just
gonna
download
say,
a
Alex?
ROM.
How do you know?
Seriously, just download a ROM. It's not that hard.
Alex, you can't download ROMs of computer games.
It's legal, bro.
It doesn't
No.
work that way.
No, because they're not ROMs.
Oh, what are they called then?
They're just the game.
Oh,
ROMs are like from cartridges.
oh, I get it. Yeah, just download it on the internet.
But shh, that's illegal. We don't want to
We'll
go to
cut-
podcast jail for
we'll
endorsing
cut that
illegal
part out.
activities.
Right. We'll cut that out. Okay. Moving on. Oh yeah. So go to Twitter, use the hashtag #OurDisneyInfinity and vote for or suggest LucasArts characters.
I already did.
Who
You
did you
did.
vote for?
I voted for Guybrush Threepwood.
Boring.
Oh. I should have voted for Weird Ed's hamster.
Yeah, Weird Ed would be pretty
Weird
great.
Ed Edison and his hamster.
Dr. Fred would be awesome.
What about Zach McCracken, everyone's favorite LucasArts character?
What about
Yes.
the guy from Dig?
That nobody
Robert
remembers
Patrick's
his name.
character.
Robert Patrick's character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Agent Doggett.
in space.
See, now I don't think of him as Agent Doggett. I think of him as the T-1000 now. Anyway, getting back on track, let's read old feedback.
It's so old that the people who wrote it are probably dead by now.
Well, let's
Really?
hope not.
we
I'm
unearthed
hoping
it
that they're
from an
gonna.
ancient Egyptian tomb.
Right. Let me just blow all the dust off of this feedback. So
You should put some of the feedback in chat so that other people can read it, just so it's not you reading all of it.
Ah.
Just saying.
do what?
Oh
Put it in
yeah,
the chat.
you should pass it around so we can all read some of the feedback.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll do that so you guys can read that. Okay.
Okay.
We got MP3 feedback roughly a year ago, and I feel really bad that we stopped doing the podcast after like some of this feedback came in, because like the whole thing was we did 4 episodes and I started feeling like no one was listening, and then we got busy with other projects, and that was the moment when people started sending stuff in. I was like, oh. So I felt kind of bad about that, but we're finally reading your feedback.
Sorry.
Okay.
And thank you.
So our first piece of feedback is an MP3 sent in, and I apologize if I'm mangling up your name.
Butcher.
Go.
Comes in
go.
from Ubaldo Navarro, and let's listen to what he has to say about Threepcast.
Hello guys, and greetings from Mexico City. My name is Ubaldo Navarro. Well, I've been checking your show since podcast number 1, and it has been really a great surprise that it has been improved so much since the first one. I wanted to let you guys know that, well, there's people listening to you here in Mexico City, and also if it's possible that sometime in a future episode that you talk about Adventure Soft. I have a podcast here in Mexico, and I've reviewed Simon the Sorcerer, and people that listen to that podcast, they seem to enjoy it, they really liked it, but well, here in Mexico it was really difficult to get some games, and I had to, in a trip that I made to United Kingdom, I bought it, but well, I got part 1 and part 2, but well, when I first played it, it was on the floppy disk, so it had no English voice, and the demo I tried, it had the English voice, so it was really cool, and then it was like a letdown. But well, what I wanted to give some feedback on is that maybe, for example, if you decide to talk about Adventure Soft in a future, you could talk about who was Adventure Soft, and also what are these guys doing right now? What happened? Because well, they tried going 3D with Simon, and well, it was a fluke. So well, maybe we can understand adventure games right now and things like Telltale series, and well, of course, the zombies, those zombie series. But first, we need to know, and we need to understand where is all that people, right? For example, Grim Fandango has just been announced for in the Sony conference. I think it was just for the beta. I don't know if it's going to be also on the PlayStation 4, but well, people need to understand where that hype comes from, and also where is that people working right now. So well, greetings from Mexico City. Keep up the good job, and thank you very much for the podcast. See you.
Okay, thank you for that, Ubaldo.
Yeah.
Yes,
Go.
we're all big fans of Simon the Sorcerer, or at least Alex. Have you ever played Simon the Sorcerer?
No.
I think Anton and Phil have both played it, right?
Yes.
I
well, no.
attempted it.
I watched you play it. It was
Okay.
entertaining.
So, all right. So we're all peripherally aware of Simon the Sorcerer. Let me put it that way.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I don't think I was ready for an adventure game that hard yet. It was right when I was
It's
starting
pretty
adventure
tricky.
games.
It is at least the first one is very, very difficult. The second one they made much easier. I didn't have any problems with the second one, but the first one was very difficult. We actually talked about this before recording. We've worked Simon the Sorcerer into our schedule of future episodes because we want to make sure that we're responding to feedback and giving to people what they want. So we will do a Simon the Sorcerer episode at some point. And we can talk about AdventureSoft and all that good stuff.
It just boggles my mind that they were listening to our podcast all the way from episode 1.
I know.
Yeah, I know, really.
It's like, oh
And,
no, don't do that.
And people from Mexico City too.
Yeah,
So,
I know. That's really
to
cool.
To everyone in Mexico City, hi.
Man,
Hello.
international.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I hadn't
So-
really thought about this, but I guess a lot of these games would have been really hard to get outside of like US,
outside
UK.
of like the US and UK. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, so that's probably another plus about having things like good old games in Steam or it's distributed digitally. Is that
Exactly.
It's-
Yeah.
the reach is much
So,
wider.
right. So,
So it's not localized, I guess. But
yeah, I think
better than
it's probably
nothing,
got
I guess.
subtitles. Maybe I don't know. That'd be a good thing to find out.
one
Yeah.
thing I really liked about his feedback was he talked kind of about how he flew over to UK to get a copy of Simon the Sorcerer. I
Yeah.
think it was.
Mhm.
that's,
Yeah, and
that's dedication.
it's dedication, but also just I really miss that kind of that awesome feel you get when you like buy something or order something and it comes in the mail, like a physical
You
thing.
get
you
a
can hold.
rare relic.
Yes.
Right.
I kind of miss those, but like you guys were saying, it's really good now that we have means to get it online.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that feedback.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So yes, we have one more piece of written feedback from Carl Smythe or
Wow,
Smith.
Carl.
Smith
And yes. So Phil, would you like to read that?
Sure. All right. Hello, bearded trio. I grew up playing the LucasArts adventure games. The other big adventure games that stand out from my youth are Rise of the Dragon and Heart of China from Dynamax Mix, and the Leisure Suit Larry games. I don't think we played any of those. Let's see.
Well, yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, anyway. Eventually? Okay. Please Quest and King's Quest. Most of the Sierra adventure games just didn't do it for me as a lad. After Grim Fandango, I sort of lost an interest in adventure games on PC, Amiga, or they just slowly dwindled as a genre. That's kind of sad. The last memorable adventure game
sure.
I played is the Broken Sword series on iOS. As time is limited these days, so gaming is usually to and from work. Maybe a segment on mobile adventure games, I can't read today. Maybe a segment on mobile adventure gaming as big now with the success of Telltale, though is Walking Dead truly an adventure game, more of a graphic game on wheels. The Telltale Hector game is worth playing. Just to comment on your podcast, constructive criticism since you asked for it. Try to get information from other sources than Wikipedia. Elliot. The question section, I don't know, but I skip these. Maybe I just find them a tad boring. Other than these small points, I like the podcast. I quite like the podcast and the enthusiasm in the early days. Hope you guys keep going. Regards, Carl. Aw.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you, Carl. That's great to hear. Thank you for the constructive criticism. And yeah, that is kind of sad how adventure games did kind of dwindle out for a while. And I don't know if it's just growing up or what. It does seem like there's not as much time these days to sit down and dedicate to like playing like a long adventure game and getting into it.
Yeah, adventure games are easier than some genres though, because you can save it at any point. There's not like, I'm in the middle of an action sequence. You can just put it down, pick it up later.
Right.
Makes it
Yeah,
work
and I
well
think-
for
I-
mobile platforms.
Right, the mobile revolution has really helped with that, I think, so that you can kind of, take your adventure games on the go, and you don't have to be sitting in front of your computer to, dedicate time to it. So, yeah, great feedback. Let's see, what games did he list? He talked about the Hector. I've never played Hector Badge of Carnage.
I've heard about it. Yeah, I haven't
Supposed
never
to
heard
be-
of the Dynamix games.
I think Dynamix was an offshoot of Sierra, and people can correct me if I'm wrong. I think they were like a company that Sierra had. Like I remember, I think their logo is in like Space Quest 5 or something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, great feedback. Thank you, Carl.
Thanks,
and,
Carl.
That's it for old feedback.
Yay.
Unless we want to read the reams of spam that our podcast email got.
Read some spam. Read some spam.
Spam.
Okay.
Pick the best one.
Let me see if I can locate it.
You brought this upon yourself for bringing up the fact.
Yeah, I shouldn't have brought it up.
Yeah, LA.
Let's see. Let me find a good one.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it does seem like I guess I
Okay.
noticed this till I was during the good old game sale a couple of weeks ago. But it seems like we're having a little bit of a renaissance of just like smaller adventure games from different indie studios.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like I just found a lot of games on there from like the last 5 years, like 2012, 2011. Just like
Yeah, absolutely. I think the low point was really like early 2000s, like 2003, 2004. That was kind of when people were going around saying adventure games are dead. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
And I remember when Sam and Max got canceled. I remember reading an article where somebody was like, when the next Leisure Suit Larry game comes out, which at that point that wasn't even an adventure game series anymore. It was just like a Zelda like exploration. They were like, if everybody does not go out and buy this game and make it a huge commercial success, then I declare the adventure game genre dead forever.
Rip.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, this is what the article said, and I remember finding that kind of depressing because we had just gotten on the adventure game bandwagon at that point, and just to find out that like people weren't making them anymore. But then Telltale came along, and there were other indie developers, and it all worked out.
I
think Telltale definitely helped.
Yeah,
the runaway
definitely.
success of Walking Dead probably.
Oh yeah,
that too.
Though,
Yes.
like Ubaldo said, it was Carl that said it, that Walking Dead was not really an adventure game proper.
Yeah.
But I mean, it got people interested in kind of the genre.
Right. I think we should do a Walking Dead episode at some point.
No,
I
we
think
should.
it's proper. Anyway, okay, so here's some choice spam from the Threepcast email.
Okay.
We received this in August of last year. This is from Leela, and Leela writes, "Hello, darling. I'm young and hot. I do not want to cry my eyes out anymore because of my stupid boyfriend who left me a week ago.
Oh,
Sad
no.
face. Are you ready to date with me today? My name is Leela. Let's chat here."
This is the best piece of feedback we've ever
So which
received.
one of us is gonna go chat with Leela?
Oh
I
man.
don't know.
I think I am. I'm
Sure,
hanging
it's
out-
totally legit.
I'm
Yes,
hanging out with
100%.
How many pieces
Alright.
of fan mail do we get from Leela?
We got quite a few pieces of mail from Leela and her friends from Russia. I feel like if we read all of them, we'd be here all day. So if you're a Russian mail order bride and you send us feedback, I'm sorry, we're not going to be reading your feedback.
See, I think we should make this a segment.
Unless you
Just
talk
have,
about
like,
adventure
Alex
games.
romantically reading a piece of fan mail from Leela.
please.
Okay, all right, let's we can make that a future segment, I guess. I'll make a note to do that for episode 6. Okay, so I think we are finally ready to talk about Day of the Tentacle.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I know that people are not a fan of Wikipedia readings. So
Lynch.
do we want to resurrect the old summarize Wikipedia in 90 seconds skit, or do you want me to just
I like that.
get through it as fast as possible?
Summarize Wikipedia. Go.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can somebody give me a timer?
I am.
I got the timer. Oh, Phil's got one. But,
My computer's being a derp.
okay, I got a timer. Hold on. Because I'm cool.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay. Tell me when.
Can we get like that thing from Double Dare? The guy's like, on your mark, get set. All right.
This
Phil,
is what we said
okay.
last time.
Yeah, you said that last time, Phil.
No way.
Yes,
Oh,
did.
man,
You
feels
had,
that time loop.
we've had this conversation.
I'm so great. All right,
We-
ready?
Yeah.
On your mark. Get set.
Day of the Tentacle is a sequel to Maniac Mansion released by LucasArts in 1993. The game's plot follows Bernard Bernoulli and his friends Hoagie and Laverne as they attempt to stop the evil purple tentacle from taking over the world. Development of the game was led by Tim Schafer and Dave Grossman. The two had previously worked on Secret of Monkey Island and Monkey Island 2, and the studio felt that Grossman and Schafer's humor matched well with that of Maniac Mansion and suggested working on a sequel. In planning the plot, the designers considered a number of concepts, eventually choosing an idea of Ron Gilbert's about time travel that they believed was the most interesting. Grossman and Schafer decided to carry over previous characters that they felt were the most entertaining. The game's other protagonists, besides Bernard, who was carried over from Maniac Mansion, are Laverne and Hoagie. Laverne was based on a Mexican ex-girlfriend of Dave Grossman's, and Hoagie was based on a Megadeth roadie named Tony that Tim Schafer had met. Schafer and Grossman planned to use a character selection system similar to Maniac Mansion, but felt that it would have complicated the design process and increased production costs. Believing that it added little to gameplay, they removed it early in the process and reduced the number of player characters from 6 to 3. They dropped characters including Razor, a female musician who appeared in Maniac Mansion, Moonglow, a short character in baggy clothes, and Chester, a black beat poet. Grossman and Schafer brainstormed regularly to devise the time travel puzzles and collaborated with members of the development team, as well as other LucasArts employees. The staff conceived puzzles involving the U.S.'s early history based on their memory of their compulsory education. To complete the elements, Grossman researched the period to maintain historical accuracy, visiting libraries and contacting reference librarians.
Done.
But this... okay.
That was good.
All right, so some quick factoids about Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah.
90 seconds or less.
I mean, I would love to play a beat poet and go back and rap with
A
George
black
Washington.
beat poet.
Yeah.
I think that if it weren't for the fact that it would have made the game like insanely complicated to program, I think that would have been cool if they'd let you pick from a pool of 6 characters and like choose who goes to which time periods.
Well, not only that, but also just the fact that Day of the Tentacle, everything is voiced. Maniac Mansion didn't have that complicated.
Right. That would have made it even more complicated if
Yeah.
you'd had 6 characters in any time period fully voiced.
So yeah,
Well, you just end up voicing the entire game for 6 people.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that would have been
Also,
I mean, if that had been my programming duty, I probably would have quit LucasArts if that had been me.
like, and a lot of the
I feel sorry
puzzles
for
are-
the voice actors.
Yeah, seriously. I know that the Wikipedia segment's over, but I do want to just quickly mention that Day of the Tentacle was the first talkie game that LucasArts ever produced.
Mhm.
They actually went
voiced.
back to do Fate of Atlantis and Loom later, so
Huh.
this was the first time
Wow.
they'd ever done anything like that.
Wow.
And I can't imagine, like, if you were up to date with all the LucasArts games playing Day of the Tentacle for the first time, it would be just so, I don't know, refreshing maybe?
Seriously, what a breath of fresh air.
Like, a lot of adventure games tend to have a very dark, like you were saying, Loom and
Fate of Atlantis.
Fate of Atlantis are very dark and serious, and they're great games, but Day of the Tentacle, you can't beat that sort of zany humor, I think. It's really
Right.
just a wonderful, wonderful.
The other
Yeah.
thing is like how big Day of the Tentacle looks compared to like Fate of Atlantis, which was the previous game that LucasArts made. Like they'd kind of been sticking to the tiny like Monkey Island sized sprites up to that point, but Day of the Tentacle they like totally changed the perspective of the screen. So the characters are very big and animated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was like a huge like benefit for Day of the Tentacle because they were kind of going for like the Chuck Jones Looney Tunes kind of look.
Yeah.
That they were able to make it so big and like vibrant, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and it's like they mentioned that they picked the characters they thought were the most entertaining. It's like
Right.
Hoagie, Laverne, and Bernard are all like extremely entertaining to to go through the game with. It
You just
feels
wanna
like they'd
poke
be great
everything.
people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Their characters lend themselves to you like messing with everything that they can get their hands on.
Yeah. Just because they're so entertaining to just watch them go around and do stuff.
Right. Yeah, and they really do fit. Like, I don't know how they decided who went into which time period, but I think their personalities mesh perfectly
No, I know.
with the time periods they get stuck in. Like having Hoagie be stuck in the past and talk to
George Washington.
characters from United States history is such
Yeah.
a stroke of genius. I mean, it's borrows a little bit from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I think, but like the way it's executed in Day of the Tentacle is so perfect. Like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have worked for either of the other two characters, and I think you could say that for the other two time periods as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys want to talk about like your first memories of getting this game? Because I think what's interesting about Day of the Tentacle is this was actually like our first proper adventure game that we ever played. or
Yeah.
that we ever sincerely tried to get through.
Okay,
I
I'll
think
start.
King's Quest 6 is the first.
Okay, technically King's Quest 6. Let me rephrase that. Day of the Tentacle is the first adventure game we ever owned. Back in the the late 90s, when we got our CD-ROM drive, a friend of my dad's was lending us his computer games, and one of them was King's Quest 6, and I remember we tried that for a little bit, and we thought it was really hard.
Like, how do we do? We can't get into this castle.
We kept falling in the lake. Do you remember that? Because that boy wants us to go swimming. We should go swimming, and we kept falling. Anyway,
Yes.
so I remember we played King's Quest 6, and then Rebel Assault was one of the other games that got lent to us. That was another LucasArts game that was from roughly the same time as Day of the Tentacle.
Was that an adventure game or?
No, that was just a Star Wars game where you'd fly around and shoot stuff.
Oh, okay.
But it had a Day of the Tentacle demo on there, and I remember that we finished playing Rebel Assault, and we would see the menu of all the demos on the disc. Oh, what's this? And we'd check it out, and I remember thinking this game looks so weird, just because we didn't really understand how what the format was for adventure games, so I wasn't really sure how this was even a game, just like games were like Mario where you run from left to right and jump on stuff.
Yeah.
So it seemed very weird, and I thought maybe it was one of those educational Magic School Bus type games where you click on stuff and get little factoids about history or whatever. I had no clue what the game was about. And then we completely forgot about it for years. And then I don't remember what brought it back to my memory, but we were just hanging out one evening. I think it was late 2001. That I suddenly it popped back into my mind. I was like, "Oh yeah, Day of the Tentacle. I remember that. I wonder what that was about." And then we went and looked it up, and then I remember I put it on my Christmas list for that year. And then you know how every Christmas there's always that one thing that you stick with regardless of what other presents you get, that you always keep going back to that one thing. That was Day of the Tentacle for me that year. We'd go open more presents, but then whenever we take a break, okay, back to Day of the Tentacle. I remember it was very exciting and very interesting, and I was 11 at the time, and it totally captured my imagination.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, our Christmases take a very long time, so we have to take several breaks.
Right. And I remember getting very excited about all the little individual lines of dialogue. I would play a part of the game and then go run and tell Anton, be like, "Hey Anton, guess what? Guess what you can say to George Washington? You can ask him what does he do with his teeth, and he'll say he polishes them with wood polish. Isn't that funny?"
And we just roll our eyes at you.
Yeah.
See, my first memories of Day of the Tentacle are I went back to the house, to the back of the house one day, and you were on the internet frantically searching for Day of the Tentacle things, and you're like, "Do you remember this game? We saw this trailer for it a long time ago," and I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about, man." And then I forgot about it until Christmas, and then you were playing it, and I was like, this looks alright, I guess. Yeah.
The other thing, because we had never beaten an adventure game before, we didn't really understand the principle of if you go get a walkthrough, the adventure game length will shorten down to hours instead of it'll shorten down to nil. Basically, we didn't understand that because before, even with we would usually play games with strategy guides in front of us, and that wouldn't really decrease the gameplay time.
Right.
So I remember being horribly disappointed after we got stuck pretty much everywhere. We didn't know what to do. We got a guide, and then we got through the rest of the game in a day and a half. And then I was like, "Wait, that's it?"
Oh no. Yeah. It was
So
it was a lot of fun though, because I remember
a-
after watching you play it for a while, I started to kind of get into the groove of it and be like, "This is pretty cool."
it had a huge influence
yeah.
on our kind of just the
Our creative output,
our creative
forever
output.
afterward.
If you look at we used to do little stupid computer games with click and play.
They weren't stupid. They were cool.
If you look at there's a clear demarcation of our style of making games pre Day of the Tentacle and post Day of the Tentacle. You can really see how it influenced us and how we kind of borrowed from it and tried to emulate it, and all that. We even made a fan game that was supposed to be a sequel to Day of the Tentacle, and it was very unimaginative. It was basically just a retread of Day of the Tentacle with new puzzles. But
I always admired the way that you coded all of that together in Games Factory, though. It's it was very elaborate.
Games Factory is not built for for adventure games. It's built for side scrollers. So the fact that we were able to reverse engineer a point and click game inside a games factory, it was really buggy. It was like almost impossible to like play it as a real game. But hey, you know,
we did it.
tried.
It's cool.
We did it. Phil, do you have any fond memories of playing Day of the Tentacle for the first time?
Honestly, I can't remember playing it for the first time. I mean, I remember, it's kind of one of those things I always just remember playing. Like, I can't think of a time that we didn't know about Day of the Tentacle, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when I went back and played it a couple of weeks ago, it was very, very weird feeling. Like I knew all the puzzles still. It was like that ingrained in me. So
Right.
I think at this point it'd be safe to say it's kind of like a part of us, just how much we played it and how much we loved it.
We all. Oh, go ahead, Alex.
I have never played Day of the Tentacle. I've just watched other people play it.
He watched Phil play it.
It's not a part of me. Grump.
Oh.
Get out.
Alex is the objective observer who is not on board with the hype overload
I've
wagon.
never finished an adventure game other than Strong Bad's cool game.
See, Alex is on here because he thought we were going to be talking about Strong Bad.
Sorry.
Wah, wah. That's a good game. We'll get there eventually.
I think another way that Day of the Tentacle has really influenced us is like within a year of playing it, we all got together, like with our childhood friends, Christopher and Keaton Zahorsky. We all got together and decided we need to make a movie about Day of the Tentacle. And so we did end up doing that. We made a feature-length film out of Day of the Tentacle, and it was not great, but it was our first time using a computer to make special effects like the Chronojon and the future. Like before, we had always just used whatever was around. This was our first time trying to do something that was like required like things that were not real.
Oh, but we did build an actual Chronojon out of a refrigerator box and some stuff from our garage.
We did. We built the we painted a refrigerator box.
It was
green.
Really impressive in retrospect.
Yeah, I know. Like, I wish we would do more stuff like that with our movies now. Is like make real practical props. The other thing that we did was my mom sewed us purple and green tentacle costumes. We used these tomato cages, which are cone shaped, and I thought, oh, that'd be perfect for like a model for the tentacle costumes. And at the time, Alex was so young and so tiny that he could fit inside the tomato cage and hop up and down. So Alex got to play purple and green tentacle when we filmed it.
I'm very proud. It was the start of my great acting
Illustrious.
career.
Yes.
And the coolest thing I think was just the fact that actually Tim Schafer ended up noticing it.
Right.
I know.
That was bizarre.
Should I put the audio on here from when I talked to Tim Schafer?
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So I actually got to meet Tim Schafer at PAX in 2013, and I had him sign my Day of the Tentacle box. And I asked him if he remembered our Day of the Tentacle movie because apparently
they had that. They were launching that adventure game.
Right. Okay, yeah. So let me back up. 5 years previous to that, they were doing a history of LucasArts book called Rogue Leaders, which you should get if you're a fan of LucasArts games. It's a really, really cool. Or not just adventure games, but LucasArts games in general. It's a really cool history of LucasArts, and they one of the people who is organizing the book signing party, which I think it happened like in California or something. They emailed me in 2008 and said, "Hey, we found your Day of the Tentacle movie on YouTube. Do you mind if we show it at the book signing party? There's going to be like all these LucasArts alum there." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And so they gave us, as like a thank you for that, they sent us a free copy of the book. And in the book, there is a note from Tim Schafer, which I can just read it right now because it's framed on my wall, like right in front of me.
It was beautiful.
It says, "Hey, Elliot, I loved your movie. Better than the original. Do Full Throttle next, please. Your #1 fan, Tim Schafer."
Oh gosh.
And that was huge for us.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
It's still pretty mind-boggling.
I know, really, seriously. And so yeah, then 5 years later, I went to PAX and I got to meet Tim Schafer. So I asked him if he remembered our Day of the Tentacle movie. And I'll just go ahead and play the audio. I don't know if you remember this or not, but when I was 15, my friends and I made a Day of the Tentacle movie.
50. I've seen one on YouTube that was like 3 parts. And that was you.
That was me. Yeah.
I shared that with them. That was amazing. One. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't know that was you.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably better than most video game movie adaptations out there.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Could I get a picture?
That's a low bar.
So yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dank beats.
Dank beats from Tim Schafer.
With the shapes.
With the shapes.
As we all know, Tim Schafer is a common listener of our podcast.
Oh, yes. Tim Schafer, thank you for all you do for us.
I was gonna say thank you for your audio feedback. But
Oh, yeah.
that works too.
Tim, thanks for the audio feedback. It was great to hear from you.
Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So anyway, yes, Day of the Tentacle has been a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
Been very, very cool to have it.
And for good
Yep.
reason. It is a very well designed game. Going back to play it this last time, it really kind of blew my mind.
You want to go first, Anton? Just kind of jump into what you have to say about the game.
Well, you can go ahead. I don't want to cut it.
No, you've already started. Go for it.
Okay. I mean, I guess all I was gonna say was that I was just impressed. You know, I remembered from watching you play it, it's sort of okay, that's how you solve the puzzles, and I just sort of remembered the little rabbit trail you take to get through the game. But it wasn't. And I actually did. I don't think I've played it since you got it that one time. Like, I just kind of left it in the back of my brain. So coming back to it this last month, it was like, I don't know. I remembered some of the puzzles, and then some of them I couldn't remember. Like the vending machine puzzle, I was like, how do you do that again?
Oh, really?
But what I noticed was that all of the puzzles, it's like if you look at something or talk to people who are nearby the puzzle, then they'll always, without fail, say something that gives you a little clue about what you need to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the puzzles rely on cartoon logic, so it's not necessarily intuitive. But if you talk to somebody or get all the little observations the characters will make about stuff, that'll kind of clue you into, oh, I need to do that thing,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of point you in the right direction. It's like there aren't any puzzles that it's just like, well, I had no reason to be expected to be able to figure that out.
Right, yeah, that's a good observation. Like, even though the logic is a little warped sometimes, like, if you pay careful attention to all the dialogue, like, somebody will say something that is supposed to clue you in, oh, I need to be doing this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of a good example off the top of my head.
Well, what about, like, washing the carriage?
Yeah, so it's like you're supposed to get Ben Franklin to go inside, and so he keeps saying, or no, sorry, let me back up. You're trying to get rain for him so that he can do his kite experiment, but then he ends up going inside and like retreating for some reason. So anyway, the idea is like, oh well, you need to get rain, and so like if you're aware of like the common urban legend that if you wash your car then it'll start raining, then there's this really dirty carriage in front of the inn in the past, and you're supposed to go and wash it.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, even if you don't know that you need to wash it, the fact that it's there and it's so prominent on the screen, it's like, I probably need to do something with this. And you look at it and Hoagie will be like, oh, it's really dirty or something. And
Right.
Like, oh, maybe I have to clean it because I haven't done anything with this carriage yet.
Right. Or like with Weird Ed, when you're talking to him, he keeps bringing up his stamp collection over
Yeah,
and
yeah,
over,
yeah,
and over,
right.
and how important it is to him, and how important, yeah, like just like you start to wonder, oh, what's going to happen if something bad happens to his stamp collection?
Yeah, or like, I guess this is the one I was thinking of. I'd forgotten it right off the top of my head, but
If I
at some
can say
point when you're talking to Dr. Fred, he meant about how he can stop Purple Tentacle. He mentions pushing an old lady down the stairs.
Right,
because that like plants the idea in your brain, and then you go upstairs and you see Nurse Edna, and she's rolling around on this chair with wheels on it. You're like, like if she were just standing there, then it'd be like, well, what do I do? But she's already moving around a lot.
on
Right.
on the note of the stamp collection, even
Right.
if you don't have any idea of what you're supposed to do, and you're completely stumped, you can just assume that you're supposed to mess with the stamp collection and
Right,
get
yeah.
something done. Which I
Like,
think
yeah,
is
even if you don't know where you're going with it, you're like, well, I know kind of what I need to do with it, but even though I don't know what I'm going to do after that next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the puzzles encourage you to like be a prankster and mess with people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can like
Yeah.
squirt disappearing ink on random people, and there's like a different interaction for every single person that you squirt disappearing
Really?
ink on.
I
Yeah.
know, it's so great.
Can you give the disappearing ink to Hoagie in the past? And
Yes.
oh,
And you can squirt it on founding fathers and pretty much everybody.
It's just so
great.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, when it comes to the puzzles, like, I think this is the first game, and probably the one that does the best, that, like, it's so rewarding, not from, like, oh, I solved the puzzle, but just to see what happens next.
That too.
Just from a humor perspective.
Because It's
That's
also
kinda my take
consistently
on it.
funny. Like all
The
the
puzzles
time.
are very rewarding to solve. I do remember the few that we were able to figure out as kids. I remember getting very excited whenever we'd get it right
Yeah.
and figure something out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time.
Yeah, Phil, do you want to go ahead and with your bit?
Oh, that was kind of. I've been thinking like, it's difficult to dissociate it like from something that I've always known and just kind of see it as, if you don't know anything about it, like what would you be wanting to hear about this game? It's probably the most inventive adventure game out there, even to this day, I'd say. Like,
Yeah.
I'm someone who's never played Day of the Tentacle, and I want to know, why should I spend time on a game that will waste a bunch of time?
Well, first, it's not a long game, so
No.
it's not like a JRPG where you invest like 100+ hours into it just to get to the end.
Yeah, I think if you were to approach this game as an adult or even like, a reasonably seasoned video game player, I don't think it would take you that long to get through.
no.
I think the only reason we got stuck was because we were kids and we didn't
Yeah.
know that you were supposed to pay attention and pick up everything, and
Right.
we didn't really get it. So, like, it's real. I've heard people say, like, if you play it for the first time now, it's not that long of a game. It's pretty quick to get through.
Yeah.
I think
But I guess the
best-
yeah.
Yeah, you go.
I was just gonna say the compelling reason to play it is, I guess, mainly just that it's really funny.
Yeah,
It is very, very funny.
it's just a
you'll-
fun, like, it's a joy to play, honestly. Like,
Mm.
you don't feel like we were talking about, you want to just talk to everything,
Yeah.
look at everything, and just try everything with everything, like squirting the founding fathers of Ink and all that. It just, you can do so much in the game, and it's not too difficult, so you're not like pulling your hair out, or it's not a chance like you can die like in a Sierra game.
On the note of the Sierra games, I think it's nice that Day of the Tentacle is a game that's relaxing. There's no pressure.
Yeah, right. That too.
This got chopped off of my Wikipedia reading, but one of the other things about Day of the Tentacle is this was the first LucasArts game where it's impossible to die.
Really?
Yeah, and it's impossible because in
Huh.
Fate of Atlantis you could die.
yeah.
Monkey Island 2 and Monkey Island 1, there are like these bizarre edge cases where if you push the game hard enough, yes, you can die. But this was the first game where they deliberately designed it. It's impossible to die and it's impossible to get stuck.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so it is.
Okay, Monkey
go
Island
ahead.
2 is kind of ridiculous. Like, you have
To
to
do
know about it to do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was in the design that you shouldn't be able to die. Like,
Right.
since I don't know. I guess since Zack McCracken. Well, yeah.
You could
'cause
die in Zack McCracken.
You can die.
Oh, can you? So what's the first one that's like death is not a prominent part of the design though?
Probably Loom.
Okay, yeah.
I
guess
mean,
you can
death
die
is
in
part
Fate
of the
of Atlantis,
story.
So this is true.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I don't think you can die in Loom, but I think you can get stuck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But
if you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
like memorize
it's like-
the color combos,
This
then
is
yeah,
true.
you definitely get stuck.
If you're dumb about it.
Uh-huh.
But
But yeah, having it so you
Anywho.
can't die makes it feel like a safe. It's very safe just to sort of wander around and talk to people and just relax and kind of have a good time and jam
Right.
with it.
yeah, like you're not scared to
Try stuff.
yeah, to like use disappearing ink on purple tentacle. You're not afraid
Mhm.
the game is suddenly going to kill you for no reason.
Right. And that helps with the puzzle design too, I think, because it makes it like you feel like
It's safe to
If-
try stuff.
yeah, if there's a pocket of stuff that you haven't explored yet or stuff you haven't tried, then you should go try it because that might be the answer to your puzzle.
Hmm.
Instead of like I maybe should go over there, but I don't want to die and lose all my progress. Or
Right, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, so that was a great design decision on their
Yes.
part.
it's true.
Is everybody done so far? Alex, do you want to say a few words about Day of the Tentacle in general?
I don't know. It's probably the best out of the adventure game genre, as far as I can tell.
What were your initial impressions watching Phil play it this last?
The art
Last time.
style was weird.
Okay, I look
Uh,
at this.
What do you think of the voice acting and the music?
Yeah, that seemed all fine and stuff. I don't know. It seemed like it was probably a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Probably
really-
a good game.
Yeah.
I can't say anything else about it.
Is it 256 colors or is it?
Yes.
Okay, because I was noticing
256.
this time it didn't strike me like this originally, but that character sprites are very simple. It's like there's not really a lot of shading on it. It's just kind of like outlines and solid colors.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were going for that Chuck Jones kind
Right,
of look.
exactly.
It looks very vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
It's very striking, yes. Yes.
I would say the art style is definitely very, very fun to look at. Like, this is one of those games where I like to just stop and just look at the background for a while. And I can't say that about a lot of games, or I just really enjoy looking at the wacky angles and everything, and just how beautifully like warped everything looks. The music is great. The voice acting is top notch. But I think what really sets Day of the Tentacle apart is the design of everything. Like, I think having the whole thing take place in one area in different time periods was brilliant. All the puzzles that involve triggering something in the past and then having it affect future time periods, those are all brilliant. The game feels very like well balanced between all three time periods, where you feel like it's like the game is like a perfect triangle from a design perspective. Like, all of the three time periods are perfectly balanced. All of the puzzles are perfectly balanced. Like, it just feels like it's a very well realized game in pretty much every aspect. And it's hard for me to be objective because this game has been a part of my life for like 14 years now, and I've played it countless times and like memorized pretty much the entire thing. I mean, not every line of dialogue, but getting. I don't have to like. It's hard for me to get stuck on something like this, and I do kind of envy you, Anton, because I would like to play through Day of the Tentacle again, where I like honestly forget what I'm supposed to do next. But yeah, this is one of those, like, there are very few games where I would say this is a perfect game where they didn't miss any design opportunities, and you know, all the puzzles, you know, make sense. All the jokes execute well, you know, everything. If there was one thing I would change, and this is just kind of niggling about it, but I would say the ending feels a little rushed.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
Yeah.
It has a
Not
Curse of Monkey
horribly.
Island feel to it, I'd say.
Right. Well, I don't know if it was actually rushed in design like Curse of Monkey Island was, but it feels like just a tiny tad
Tiny bit too short,
anticlimactic.
yeah.
Like after.
Right.
But I
only
mean,
like two puzzles.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like after, like it's kind of like following up, you know. I don't know. It's like trying to do a follow up to. I'm trying to say something other than Citizen Kane, but like, just like the brilliance of like the section where everybody's in different time periods.
Right.
It's like, how do you follow that up?
Yeah.
So it's like they kind of put themselves in a tough position. It's like, okay, you just went through this brilliant, three-piece adventure game structure, and now it's like you have to have a finale for that. It's like, how do you do that?
Well, I mean, I think it's good. I like it as an ending. It's just a little short.
Right.
Like, they could have added one more puzzle, and no one would think anything about it, I guess.
Right. No, yeah, it's a great ending. I'm not saying it's a bad ending. I'm just saying, like, it does feel a little short.
Right.
A little unsatisfactory after how great what went before was.
It's true.
So this is a great game. If you have not played this, then I highly recommend that you either find a used copy or, you know, pick up the special edition whenever Double Fine finishes that.
It's really good. The other thing I was gonna say was I didn't notice until this time playing through that in each of the three time periods there's a convention in the hotel.
Dang! Oh man, I didn't notice that either.
And also in each of the three time periods, somebody mentions going to Baltimore.
Right? Yeah. I knew about the Baltimore thing. Somebody's going to Baltimore in every time period.
Yeah.
The other thing is you'll notice that there are characters that are repeated throughout the time periods. So like Ben Franklin will reappear in the present day as the cigar salesman, and I believe that that George Washington is supposed to reappear in the future as Harold, but I'm not 100% positive that was intentional. Harold does bear a resemblance to George Washington.
Yeah. And John Hancock is also Dwayne.
He's Dwayne, yeah.
Yeah, the depressed guy.
Right, the guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was another really clever, just the way the game kind of like folds on itself and like will recycle things, like the way that the backgrounds are like perspective-wise identical in all the time periods. I thought was really cool. Yeah, like
Wow.
if you like go to the lobby in all 3 time periods, the layout of how like where the camera is positioned and where everything is like identical.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And at the start of the game, like, well, yeah. So at the start of the game, they misdirect you, right? Because they have the to-do list right there, but they have Dr. Fred go upstairs. So you kind of tend to follow him, and you just kind of explore the whole mansion before you find it. But what that does is it gives you the layout of the mansion, and then for the rest of the time periods, you already know how it's all laid out, so you kind of know where you're going.
Right.
But
That's
they
really
do it-
blowing my mind what you said about how there's a convention in each of the 3 time periods.
Yep. It's pretty great.
To Anton Strikes Again.
Yeah, it's just so packed with good ideas that you can like continue to unpack it for years and find all these little cool things that the designers, like either, intentionally or unintentionally, like just kind of got in there. Yeah, it's great. So, does anyone else have any other general comments?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, let's see. I would like to add a new segment to the podcast,
Okay.
just for adventure games in general. We should talk about what was our favorite puzzle and what was the worst puzzle in the game. So, I'll go ahead and start. For me, my favorite puzzle in Day of the Tentacle is everything involving the hamster. So, like the entire chain of getting the hamster to the future, and then getting him the sweater, and then getting him out of the mouse hole, and powering the hamster generator in the future. Like,
No, actually that was the puzzle I was going to say at first, but because I liked it because the hamster is just so cute all the way through. He's just making adorable faces at you.
yeah, right. I know the hamster is really cute, and you feel bad for having to stuff him in that ice chest. Also, I apologize to if anyone's listening to this and they haven't played Day of the Tentacle. We're like spoiling half the puzzles just by talking about it. But I guess that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that'd be my favorite. I mean, that's multiple puzzles, I guess. But everything involving like the hamster is a favorite of mine. Like I just like all the pieces that go into that, like getting the hamster preserved into the future and then accommodating like all of his complaints about how he's too wet, and then when he runs away and you got to get him out of the mouse hole. Like it's everything that feeds into that is really brilliant.
Yeah, it's true. It's so good.
And probably my worst puzzle would be either the hubcap, which is this hubcap shows up in the future and there's no use for it, and that always bothered me. You can like put it into a recycling machine and get it out of your inventory, but it doesn't serve any purpose in the game. Either that or switching the beds in the attic.
Yeah.
That is only because I feel like that's one of the few puzzles where the game's interface was kind of like making it more difficult than it needed to be, because like choosing the right verbs to get Hoagie to switch the mattresses, I thought was kind of difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
Even like on repeated playthroughs, it's kind of like, well, do I pick up the mattress or use mattress with mattress? And it's not really clear.
Yeah, that was like probably one of the last puzzles I solved. And I was like, how do I do this? And I kept coming back to it. And I was like, I can't remember. And then finally, I realized one bed was squeaky and the other one wasn't. I was like,
All right,
Right
so
on.
we just got some last-minute audio feedback from someone who just recently played Day of the Tentacle but would prefer to remain anonymous.
Oh man.
So here we go.
man.
This anonymous person's feedback on what they thought of Day of the Tentacle.
Just go.
Just go.
I'm not prepared.
Go.
No,
So
okay.
anonymous.
Well, so you played Day of the Tentacle for the first time recently, right?
Yes.
For all of us, like we've played it several times, we're all very familiar with it, so we're not as objective as someone else who's played it for the first time.
We can't tell you this person's name, but we happen to call
No,
her
you can't.
Zero.
Yes, absolutely.
See all of these pictures in the Skype call?
Yes, I can see all the pictures.
Well
in the
well played.
call.
Well played.
I worry about you. Anyway, so my favorite part about Day of the Tentacle was definitely the dialogue, because it was hilarious. The puzzles I felt were a little hit or miss. Like, they did some really clever things. For instance, like the use of time to turn the wine into vinegar, I thought was really clever because, you know, that makes sense if you have a time machine. But other things didn't make so much sense, like sticking the hamster in the freezer and then picking him out like 1,000 years later or whatever. That made much less sense.
It's like freezing him in ice and then you defrost him in the future.
This isn't Captain America. Maybe it is.
Oh,
Whoa.
There's just much less obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to pick a favorite puzzle, what would your favorite one be?
I think my favorite puzzle would probably be well, they're all kind of intertwined, so it's a little hard to say what's a single puzzle. My favorite puzzle would probably be how you got things from Dr. Edison in the past by getting a help wanted poster from the future, and then how you got stuff for Dr. Edison in the future by getting stuff from Dr. Edison in the past. That might be several puzzles depending on how you define
That's
it.
okay. I chose several puzzles for my favorite puzzle. And so your least favorite was the hamster in the ice?
I would actually say my least favorite was the mummy dress up for the human costume, just because that didn't make any sense to me, especially on the hair. Like, I got the spaghetti as the hair, but it took me forever and just random trying to figure out you're supposed to twirl it with the fork, otherwise it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
I wonder if that was Tim Schafer's idea or someone else's.
I don't know.
Yeah, Tim, we trusted you.
yeah, Tim. So, favorite
Any-
puzzle, probably chopping down the cherry tree, just because that's the moment you get all three going at once. That was such a good feeling when I first did it. Least favorite? Oh, that's hard. Least favorite? Probably it'd have to be the whole, like, getting Dr. Fred out of the attic. That is just... If you don't know what you're doing, it would take forever.
The
The
IRS.
hotspot on that was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like I just said, my least favorite puzzle was switching the beds in the attic for the same reason, just because it's hard to figure out what the hot spots are.
Right.
So I think there's even a difference between, like, the bed itself and then the mattress.
Yeah.
And you have to make that distinction in order to solve the puzzle.
It's one of those things where you know what you want to do, but you don't know how to make the game do it for you.
Right.
Yes.
It's like struggling with the interface. My favorite puzzle is actually I'm going to go for the to-do list puzzle because it's just such a huge misdirect, right? It's like it's right there, but they have Dr. Fred lead you the wrong way, and you like pretty much wander around in the whole mansion until you talk to Green Tentacle. He's like, "Do you know where the to-do list is?" And he's like, "It's probably downstairs in the lab."
Right.
I just thought that was great this time. But
What's your least favorite puzzle?
I'm going to say getting Dr. Fred to sign the contract. I
Really?
Yes, I didn't remember how to do it right, so I got all the way to where I had the contract, and I was like, okay, I finally did it. You know, I got through all the IRS stuff. I gave him the coffee. Now he's like, here it is. And he's like, I don't sign anything I haven't read. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop. And then I was like, okay, well, I need to find some other item to make him do it, because I somehow got out of the conversation without, like, talking him into it. So I was like, I wandered everywhere, and I tried to talk to everybody, and I was like, I can't figure this out. And I tried to use it on him again, and I was like, maybe I'll just go through all these conversation options. And there's just one of them where he was like, well, you know, I'm going to use it to trick, or if it's a petition against Purple Tentacle or something. And he's like, okay, and then he signs it, and it's like, this is terrible.
I think
I
in
cried.
that case, all of the conversation options will work there.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you
Eh,
say,
I know.
There's some
the
that
contract is
won't.
for.
I
messed around with it a bit.
I did something that didn't work. I don't know, and I got out of the conversation, and I was like, well, I guess that didn't work. It was sad.
Alex, since you've never played Day of the Tentacle,
Yes,
I'm assuming you don't have a favorite or a least favorite puzzle.
Well, I don't have a favorite or least favorite puzzle, but I did think about something. And if you think about it, the whole idea of puzzles in a game like this is kind of just a way to pad out the game artificially.
But
it is the
As
game.
opposed to what?
But no, the
Puzzles
game
are-
is the story. That's why people like The Walking Dead.
No.
Because
Well-
it's more story and no puzzles.
Well, that's like saying that levels are just a way to pad out a Mario game.
But you
Sort
play
of.
Mario
If
to have
Mario
the
had a
action
story.
platformers.
We're opening up a huge can of worms.
Oh,
here.
gosh.
Okay, all
This
right.
is
Yeah,
getting
seriously.
deep
All right.
really
Game
These are
fast.
just
design
my dank. These
apocalypse.
are my dank beats of the day.
That's
so.
This might be a
something
better-
to ponder for the audience listening at home.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Ponder
about-
this.
Chew on that for a while.
This might be a better discussion to have for the Walking Dead episode.
Yeah, probably.
Whenever we get to that.
Stay on topic.
Okay.
Stay on
And
topic.
I like the puzzles that involve the puzzles where you solve it so you can solve a puzzle with a different character. You know,
Mhm.
I like
Yeah,
those a lot. I think those
yeah.
are cool.
And all the time travel stuff is so cool. Like where you have to get Hoagie to break the right-armed statue so it changes arms in the present.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt any puzzles' feelings, so I won't tell you my least favorite.
You
puzzle.
don't. You can't pick favorites. They're
Yeah.
like your children's. You love them all.
You love
equally.
them all.
Okay.
So, do you guys have any other general comments? Any other final thoughts?
I think we've kind of exhausted it.
I'm gonna say my favorite line of dialogue is when Bernard looks at the phone, because it's so
The
over
what?
the top. If you look at
What is
if
it?
you look at the phone, like any phone, then he'll be like, sturdy design, attractive housing, all in all, a fine phone. And it's like, what are you doing?
Anton Bernard's phone man.
He just loves those phones. He just gives you a full phone review whenever you look at the phone. There you go. That's all I got.
There you go.
I
Alright,
I gotta say it.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
Laverne is amazing.
Laverne is amazing.
Yes.
Laverne is my
Yes.
my mentor
So,
now.
so much. She's,
I really wanted to have a scene where Laverne stabbed a tentacle, but it didn't happen.
well, she and her therapist have talked about this. They have an
Yes, I
agreement.
know. Her darn therapist messed up everything.
Laverne is
Okay.
great.
So, we did get one piece of Day of the Tentacle specific feedback that somebody sent in
Oh
for this
man.
episode. So we're gonna read that now.
Okay.
Let me just adjust this. Do you have anything else you want to say? Or just gonna be present. Okay. All right. This feedback comes to us from Peter Stockwell.
Woo!
And he writes, "Hey guys, thanks so much for doing this. I first experienced Day of the Tentacle when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. My dad and brother had acquired it from a PC show, and I was immediately entranced by the surreal Chuck Jones-like art style. The puzzles, though, proved a bit much for me. I'd yet to learn the invaluable skill of picking up anything not nailed down that has since proved me in good stead as I slowly make my way through the LucasArts pantheon. It was especially evident in Dot, as gameplay was divided by 3 characters. It made the puzzles more interesting and progression tangible. Additionally, like all point-and-click adventure games, Dot required a peculiar logic that was difficult to grasp. I remember feeling locked out from the majority of the game, able to see parts of what I had to do, yet unable to connect the necessary actions into a logical chain. As a result, the game held a certain mystique for me that was only compounded when, shortly after acquiring it, the CD was scratched. To this day, I treat my games with a delicate hand, not unlike defusing a bomb, so as not to send it into an early grave. Many, many years later, we reacquired the game along with several others as part of a collection of LucasArts games from the era. Finally, I had the skill necessary to finally complete the game with minimal help. The beautiful sprite work, clever puzzles, and witty dialogue firmly fixed this game in my heart as a treasure. You guys are the best. Sincerely, Peter Stockwell."
Yeah.
Yay!
Well, thank you.
So, thank you for that, Peter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hope you continue to write in feedback,
Yeah.
because we always like hearing from people about the podcast.
yes. But
So,
I
yeah,
think-
I think that...
That is true,
Go
though.
ahead.
I mean, it's being able to play the game relies a lot on knowing the adventure game tropes about picking up everything and like having everything be like
Well,
you have to
is-
do something with everything that's interactive, kind of thing.
isn't that
Right.
kind of appealing to the audience of people who play these kinds of games?
Right? Who've played adventure games before? Like a lot of the early adventure games are like kind of a role playing thing where you have to like get into the head of the character and be like, well, what would make sense to do if I were in this situation, and kind of do those
Mhm.
things. Instead of in this one where it's just like you have to go into the adventure game headspace and kind of like use everything with everything and do everything that is interactive and all that.
Right.
Like it's a different way to play it, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of like why we got stuck also
Mhm.
first time
No,
we played,
yeah,
because
that's
we
true.
didn't understand all of those tropes about how you're supposed to
Right.
actually pay attention to what people's problems are and
Mhm.
help them solve
Yeah.
what their particular issues are.
This sounds like a good life lesson in general.
Right.
This
Pay
is true.
attention to people, try to solve their problems
Yeah.
Hey,
Then you'll get to the end of the game.
with all the points.
Yes.
Oh, I did it. I mean,
What did you do, Alex?
I defeated the enemy's Archangel.
I take it you're not playing Day of the Tentacle right now.
Oh, I am playing Day of the Tentacle.
I am playing David Tentacle.
David Tentacle.
David Tentacle for president. I really enjoyed all of the little newspaper clippings that appear when you're hanging around in the prison during the game.
Oh yeah, all the interlude cutscenes.
It's
are fun.
so hilarious. It's like
I remember
the rash of cow tipping in the countryside.
I remember one time we played through Day of the Tentacle. We did nothing except sit around
Mhm.
and try to prompt all of the
Yeah,
interlude cutscenes to show up.
I remember that. That was great.
How do you prompt the interlude cutscenes?
Just kind
Well,
of.
it's just like if you wait too long in one time period, eventually the game detects that you're spending a long time, and it'll give you a cutscene to kind
Yeah.
of give you a nudge in the right direction.
Mhm. Or just keep it
So-
entertaining. Yeah,
Right.
but they're also entertaining though. It's great.
Anyway, I think that's it for Day of the Tentacle,
That's the
unless anybody has any last minute thoughts they want to get in really quick.
Nope.
It's great.
I think it's cool.
Okay, yay.
It's
All
pretty
right,
dope.
so for our next episode, Anton has picked a little-known adventure game that I think none of us have played except for Anton, called Gemini Rue.
Okay.
And Anton, do you want to give a summary of this if people want to try this out and send in feedback or where they can get it?
Well, so it's like film noir in space, basically.
Okay.
You
I like
play
that.
these two characters in this future setting, where one of them is like an ex-assassin who's turned police detective. And the other one is a man who's lost his memory, and he lives in this space station where they recondition criminals. And so it's really well written. It's not super long.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's only $10 on good old games, and it's also available on like tablets and phones and stuff for like $5, I think.
Is it on Steam?
Probably, maybe, almost certainly. Let's find out.
Okay.
Yes, $9.99.
I think we lost internet.
Okay. So it's generally available.
Yeah, it's generally available. It's pretty recent. I think last 3 or 4 years. I got it during the good old game sale. It turned out to be really good. So yeah,
Okay. So
recommended.
Yay. That'll be our next episode. I think this will be the first one that we've done where most of us have not played it previously to podcast recording, so it'll be a little different.
Mhm.
So, all right, I think that's it. Thank you guys for listening.
Mhm.
Thank
Yay.
you to anonymous people that joined in at the last second.
Thank you,
It was
Zero.
appreciated. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
So,
We'll see you next
See-
week, right, Alex?
See you next
Tune in
time.
next year for.
oh, right. Yeah, so I don't think we're going to try to do this on a weekly basis like we did last summer. I think
Okay.
the new schedule is we're going to do at least one episode every 1 or 2 months.
Yes,
Okay.
monthly-ish.
Which I think is more manageable for game playing.
Mhm.
So that also gives other people more time to locate the game and play
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
if they want to send us their feedback.
Yeah.
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 So, all right. Thank you everyone who joined in. Thank you to everyone who sent in feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
And we will see you guys next time.
All right.
Bye.
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 Somehow I knew this was going to happen.
They got him while I was getting my family off-world to Colony 4.
Initiating memory wipe.
Israel. Do you really want to go back there just after we escaped?
He's my brother. I'm not going to leave him behind. He's trying to change who he is, something that I couldn't do. If I can help him do that, then maybe I can live with myself.